Hey guys, tonight we are going to peel back the stiff, pearl-encrusted layers of the most iconic wardrobe in history to find the beating, terrified, and passionate heart underneath. We are stepping into the Tudor court, a place where whispers echo louder than cannons and a stolen glance can cost you your head. You probably won't survive this, statistically speaking. Being a Tudor royal is more dangerous than swimming with sharks while wearing a meat suit, but we're going to try anyway. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop a comment down below telling me where you are watching from and what time it is. I love seeing how we're all connected across different time zones. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You are 14 years old. You have the flaming red hair of your father, King Henry VIII, and the sharp, cautious black eyes of your mother, Anne Boleyn. But right now, names and titles are slippery things. Your father is dead, finally gone to meet his maker and presumably explain why he needed 6 wives. You are currently living in the household of your stepmother, Catherine Parr. She is the one who survived, the kind, scholarly woman who brought you back into the fold. You are at Chelsea Manor, a riverside palace that smells of damp earth, wood smoke, and the heavy, cloying scent of dried lavender used to mask the smell of the Thames. It feels safe here, or at least it's supposed to. But safety is an illusion when you are a pawn on the biggest chessboard in Europe. Enter Thomas Seymour. He is the new husband of your stepmother, having married her with almost indecent speed after your father's death. He is the Lord High Admiral of England, an uncle to the new boy King Edward VI, and he is everything a teenage girl might find dazzling. He is tall, loud, boisterous, and drips with charm like a roast pig drips with grease. He has a voice that fills the room and a laugh that makes the stained glass rattle. But there is something sharp behind his smile, a hunger that has nothing to do with food. You are young, brilliant, and incredibly naive. You think this is just how family works, but your mornings at Chelsea Manor start to take on a strange, unsettling rhythm. You wake up early, the gray English light filtering through the heavy velvet curtains of your bedchamber. You are warm under the furs, drifting in that space between dreams and waking. Then, you hear the heavy thud of boots. The door creaks open. It is Seymour. He comes into your room before you are dressed, before your ladies have even stirred the fire. He is wearing his nightshirt, bare-legged, grinning like a wolf who just found the coop unlocked. He comes to the bed. He pulls open the curtains. You shrink back, half giggling, half terrified. He tickles you. He slaps you on the back or on your buttocks, treating you with a familiarity that makes your governess, Cat Ashley, wring her hands in the corner. You burrow under the covers to hide, but it's a game to him. He teases, he pokes, he invades your space until the air feels too thin to breathe. It's confusing. Is this affection? Is this what a father figure does? You don't really know. Your actual father was terrifying and distant, mostly known for signing death warrants. So your baseline for normal male behavior is essentially non-existent. Historians still argue whether you are a willing participant in these romps. A precocious teenager flattering her vanity with the attention of an older man, or a victim of grooming, paralyzed by the power dynamic. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, and it's escalating. One morning, the game changes. You are in the garden at Hanworth, another of the Dowager Queen's residences. The air is crisp, filled with the scent of wet grass and blooming roses. You are walking with Seymour and, surprisingly, your stepmother Catherine. You are wearing a black dress, morning content, somber and respectful. Suddenly, Seymour decides he doesn't like the dress. He says it's too gloomy. He produces a pair of shears. Why he has shears in a garden stroll is a question for another time, and he attacks your gown. But he doesn't just cut the fabric. He and Catherine, yes, the woman who is supposed to protect you, physically restrain you. She holds you while he slashes the black cloth into ribbons. You are laughing because they are laughing, but your heart is hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. It is a moment of bizarre, violet violence, dressed up as play. It's a glimpse into the chaotic, unchecked energy of the Seymour household, where boundaries are just lines drawn in the sand, waiting to be kicked over. Things come to a head in a way that feels inevitable. You are no longer a child, and Seymour knows it. The tickling stops being about teasing, and starts being about possession. Rumors start to leak out of the manor walls like damp rot. Servants whisper. Your governess scolds you, warning you that your reputation is the only currency you have. If you spend it now, you will be bankrupt forever. Then comes the moment that shatters your world. It is May 1548. You are in a room alone with Seymour. Perhaps he has cornered you. Perhaps you didn't hear him come in. He holds you in an embrace that is decidedly not familial. And then, the door opens. It is Catherine. She sees her husband, the man she married for love, holding her stepdaughter, the girl she raised as her own. The betrayal cuts her deeper than any knife. The illusion of the happy, eccentric family dissolves instantly. The shouting that follows is muffled by the thick tapestries. But the result is clear. You are sent away, exiled. You leave the comfort of Chelsea for the house of Sir Anthony Denny at Cheshunt. You leave in disgrace, though no one says the word out loud yet. You write letters to Catherine, apologetic and dutiful, trying to mend the bridge, but the damage is done. And then, tragedy strikes again. Catherine dies in childbirth a few months later. You might think this frees you. It doesn't. It puts you directly in the crosshairs. With his wife dead, Seymour's ambition goes supernova. He controls the king's person, he controls the navy, and now he wants a royal bride. He wants you. He begins to plot, to scheme, to bribe your servants. He asks your cofferer, Thomas Parry, exactly how much land and money you have. He is measuring you up for a wedding ring, or perhaps just a crown. But the council, the grim, bearded men who actually run England, are watching. They arrest Seymour for treason, and then they come for you. You are 15 years old, terrified and isolated. Sir Robert Tyrwhitt comes to interrogate you. He is a seasoned politician, a man who can twist words until they strangle you. He wants you to confess. He wants you to say that you agreed to marry Seymour, that you plotted with him. If you admit this, you are guilty of treason. You will die. For weeks, he hammers at you. He separates you from your friends. He locks up your beloved cat Ashley in the Tower of London. He tells you she has already confessed everything, a lie designed to break you. You weep, you tremble, but you do not break. You possess a spine of steel that surprises even you. You write letters to the Lord Protector Seymour's brother, demanding that your name be cleared. You use your words like a shield. I will not tell you, you say to Tyrwhitt, over and over, refusing to give him the soundbite he needs to execute you. You learn, in these cold, terrifying weeks, that silence is power. You learn that men will try to use your body and your name for their own ends, and that the only person who will save you is you. Seymour goes to the block. The axe falls. He dies a traitor's death, reportedly with letters sewn into his velvet shoes trying to incite you and your sister Mary against his brother. A messy end to a messy man. You survive, but the scandal sticks to you like tar. You are the girl who was too familiar with the admiral. You are the whore in the whispers of the court. You realize that love, or whatever that twisted affection was, is a trap. It is a weakness. You retreat into your books, into your studies, dressing plainly, keeping your eyes down. You decide in the quiet of your room that you will never let a man hold that kind of power over you again. But the heart is a treacherous thing, isn't it? Because just as the dust settles on the Seymour affair, shadows from your past begin to lengthen. There is a boy you have known since you were 8 years old, a boy with dark eyes and a charm that feels less like a predator's trap and more like a warm hearth. He is married, of course, but in the Tudor court, marriage is often just a detail. His name is Robert, and if Seymour was the storm that nearly sank your ship, Robert Dudley is the siren song that might just lure you onto the rocks. You are 17 years old, and you are exhausted. Not the kind of tired that a good night's sleep fixes, but a bone-deep weariness that comes from watching everyone you love either die or try to kill each other. The Seymour affair has left you with a reputation that's a bit singed around the edges, but you're alive. That's the main thing. Survival is your primary hobby now. But let's talk about your father, Henry VIII. You remember him as a mountain of a man, smelling of old leather, rosewater, and the rotting ulcer on his leg that never healed? He was terrifying. He was a sun around which the whole world orbited, but get too close, and you burned. He executed your mother, Anne Boleyn, when you were not even 3 years old. He called you a bastard. He ignored you for years, then suddenly reinstated you into the succession with the casual indifference of someone deciding to keep an old chair. You look around the court and you see the wreckage of his romantic life everywhere. Catherine of Aragon, divorced, died in misery. Your mother, beheaded. Jane Seymour, Died in childbirth, the lucky one, because she gave him a son. Anne of Cleves? Divorced, humiliated, but smart enough to stay friends and keep her head. Catherine Howard? Beheaded, screaming for mercy in the hallways of Hampton Court. Catherine Parr? Survived him only to die because of her next husband. The lesson is brutally simple. Marriage kills women. Specifically, marrying a king kills women. You carry this trauma like a stone in your pocket. It's heavy, it's cold, and you touch it every time someone mentions a husband. And now that your brother Edward is king, the vultures are circling again. They look at you and they don't see Elizabeth, the brilliant scholar who translates Greek for fun. They see a uterus with a crown attached. They see a political alliance. They see a broodmare for the next generation of princes. It's disgusting. You retreat further into your shell. You cultivate an image of extreme piety and modesty. No more silks and jewels for you. You dress in severe, plain gowns. You wear your hair simple. You walk with your eyes cast down, clutching a prayer book like it's a weapon. This is your armor. If you look like a nun, maybe they'll treat you like one. Maybe they'll stop looking at you like a piece of meat at the market. Historians still argue whether this plain Jane phase was genuine religious conviction or a masterclass in political branding. Honestly, it was probably both. You are your mother's daughter. After all, you know how to play to the gallery. But the quiet doesn't last. Your brother Edward, the sickly boy king, dies at 15. The world tilts on its axis again. There's a brief, frantic attempt to put Lady Jane Grey on the throne, the 9 days queen, but it crumbles. Your older half-sister Mary marches into London to claim her crown. Mary, she's the daughter of Catherine of Aragon. She's Catholic, rigid, and she hates you. To her, you are the living embodiment of her mother's suffering. You are the Protestant whore's brat. But for a moment, you ride beside her. Two sisters, united by blood if nothing else. It looks nice in the paintings. It doesn't last. Mary is obsessed with restoring Catholicism and marrying Philip of Spain. The people hate the idea. Rebellions spark up. The Wyatt Rebellion is the big one, a plot to overthrow Mary and put you on the throne. You didn't start it. You swear you didn't. You stayed in your house, sick with a migraine, trying to be invisible. But rebels shouting your name is enough to damn you? Mary is furious. Her advisors whisper that as long as you are alive, her throne is in danger. They come for you on Palm Sunday. You are dragged from your bed, terrified, and put on a barge to the Tower of London. The Traitor's Gate. You know this place. It's a gaping maw of black stone and wet slime. The water laps against the steps, cold and unforgiving. This is where your mother entered before she died. You refuse to get out of the boat. It's raining a miserable, soaking English drizzle. You sit on the wet stones and declare, "Here landeth as true a subject, being prisoner, as ever landed at these stairs." It's a great line, very dramatic, but nobody cares. They shove you into the bell tower. For 2 months, you rot in that prison. You wait every day for the sound of boots on the stairs, for the executioner to come. You can see the scaffold from your window. You watch other people die. You carve your name into the wall just to prove you existed. The psychological torture is immense. You are 21 years old. You should be dancing, flirting, living. Instead, you are negotiating for your life with a sister who believes God wants you dead. You play the game of your life. You write to Mary. You submit. You even pretend to convert to Catholicism, attending Mass with a stony face, swallowing the wafer while crossing your fingers mentally. It's survival. It's the only thing that matters. Eventually, Mary releases you. Not because she trusts you, but because she's pregnant, or she thinks she is and feels secure. You are sent to Woodstock, under house arrest. It's a dilapidated hunting lodge, drafty and miserable. You are watched 24/7. Your servants are spies. Your letters are read. One day, looking out the window, you see a milkmaid in the field below. She's singing. She's poor, her clothes are rags, she probably has lice, and she will never own anything more than the bucket in her hand. But she is free. She can walk where she wants. She can marry who she wants. You envy her so much it physically hurts. You reportedly say, "That milkmaid's lot is better than mine, and her life is merrier." This is the crucible. This is where the iron enters your soul. You realize that freedom is the most precious thing in the world, and once you lose it, getting it back is nearly impossible. Mary's pregnancy turns out to be a phantom, a cruel trick of her body or a tumor. Her health fails. The country is in chaos. She burns Protestants at the stake, earning the name Bloody Mary. The smoke of burning flesh hangs over London. People are terrified. They start looking to you again. You are the alternative. You are the hope. Mary dies in November 1558. You are sitting under an oak tree at Hatfield House, reading a book in Greek. Naturally, when the messengers arrive, they kneel. They present the ring. The queen is dead. Long live the queen. You fall to your knees. You quote the Psalms. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. You are 25. You are Queen of England. You have survived the predator, Seymour, the executioner's axe, the tower, and the wrath of your sister. You have walked through the fire and come out holding the crown. But the trauma remains. The lesson remains. Marriage is death. You are determined to rule alone, to be the mistress of your own fate. You will be a king in a woman's body. However, as you ride into London, amidst the cheering crowds and the pealing bells, your eyes scan the throng. You are looking for a familiar face, a face that has been there in the background, a friend who sent you money when you were poor, who stayed loyal when it was dangerous. Robert Dudley. He is there. He is master of the horse now, riding right next to you. He is handsome, athletic, and he looks at you not as a queen, but as the girl he played with when you were both 8 years old. The connection is electric. It's dangerous. And for a woman who has sworn off marriage to save her life, he is about to become the biggest complication of your reign. You are queen now. The crown is heavy, literally. It gives you a headache, but the power is intoxicating. You are the sun, and the entire court of England are the sunflowers, turning their heads wherever you go. But even the sun needs warmth. And for you, that warmth comes from one specific direction. Robert Dudley. Let's talk about Sweet Robin. He isn't just some random noble you picked out of a lineup. You've known him since you were children. While your father was busy beheading people and changing the religion of the country, you and Robert shared the same tutor, Roger Ascham. You sat at the same table, learned the same Latin verbs, and probably kicked each other under the desk. You share a history. You share a language. In a world where everyone wants something from you, a title, a grant of land, a signature, Robert just wants you. Or so it seems. He is the master of the horse. It's a prestigious title, sure, but practically speaking, it means he's always physically close to you. When you ride out and you love to ride, fast and furious, leaving your guards scrambling to keep up, he is right there. When you dismount, his is the hand you take. It's intimate. It's tactile. In a court paralyzed by rigid etiquette, this casual touching is like a bomb going off. You move his chambers next to yours. You dance with him for hours, long into the night, while the older, gout-ridden counselors grumble in the corner. You whisper in corners. You laugh at inside jokes. You behave, quite frankly, like a teenager in love for the first time. The court is horrified. This isn't how a queen behaves. A queen is supposed to be distant, regal, and above all, available for a political marriage to a foreign prince. By monopolizing your time, Dudley is blocking the diplomatic traffic. And there's a bigger problem. A much bigger problem. Robert is married. Her name is Amy Robsart. She's a country girl, living far away from court, conveniently out of sight, but inconveniently very much alive. This makes your flirtation with Robert not just scandalous, but technically adulterous. The ambassadors, especially the Spanish ambassador, de Quadra, who watches you like a hawk, are scribbling furiously in their dispatches. They are acting as if they are already man and wife. They write, clutching their pearls. Rumors fly. People say you're pregnant. People say you've had secret children. People say you're a witch who enchanted him. It's the 16th century equivalent of being on the cover of every tabloid, every week. But you don't care. Or rather, you pretend not to care. You are Elizabeth. You are the daughter of the lion. Who are these people to judge you? You slap your friends on the back. You swear like a sailor when you're angry. And you flirt with Robert because it makes you feel alive in a palace that often feels like a mausoleum. There's a moment, a specific scene that captures the madness. You're in your bedchamber. Robert is there. Hess showing you a new doublet, or perhaps discussing a horse. You take his hat, his velvet cap with a jaunty feather, and you put it on your own head. You strike a pose. It's playful, it's gender-bending, it's incredibly intimate. The courtiers watching are frozen. A queen, wearing a subject's hat? It implies a level of familiarity that is terrifying to them. It says, I am his, and he is mine. Historians still argue whether this relationship was consummated. Did you actually sleep with him? The Virgin Queen brand relies on the answer being no, but you were young, passionate, and deeply in love. The opportunity was certainly there. However, you are also paranoid about pregnancy. You know that a bastard child would destroy your reign faster than any invading army. So maybe you did everything but the final act. Maybe you found ways to be intimate that didn't risk a dynasty. Robert, for his part, is playing a dangerous game. He loves you, yes, but Hez also ambitious. Heza Dudley. His father and grandfather were both executed for treason. Ambition runs in his blood like a virus. He sees a crown within reach. If only he weren't married. The tension builds. It's 1,560. The whispers are getting louder. People are saying that Robert means to kill his wife. They say he's sent her poison. They say he's waiting for her to die so he can marry you and become king. You hear these rumors. You must. You have spies everywhere. But you don't send him away. You keep him close. You let him stroke your neck in public. You let him gaze into your eyes. You are drunk on the attention, on the safety of his presence. After the trauma of Seymour and the terror of Mary's reign, Robert is your safe harbor. He is the one person who makes you feel like a woman, not just a walking state symbol. But the atmosphere is turning toxic. Your chief advisor, William Cecil, the calm, prudent voice of reason in your life, is practically tearing his beard out. He knows that if you marry Dudley, the nobility will revolt. They will not accept a horsemaster as their king. It would be civil war. Cecil starts dropping hints. He starts telling ambassadors that Robert's wife is sick. Hez preparing the ground. Or maybe Hez warning you. You ignore him. You are Elizabeth. You do what you want. Then, one September day, the news breaks. It hits the court like a thunderclap. Amy Robsart is dead. She was found at her home, Cumnor Place, at the bottom of a short flight of stairs. Her neck was broken. The timing is suspicious. The circumstances are suspicious. She had sent all her servants away to a fair that day, so she was alone in the house. A fall down a few stairs? Breaking her neck? It seems impossible. It seems staged. The world turns its eyes to you. The whispers stop being whispers and become a roar. They did it, the people say. The queen and her lover killed the wife to clear the path. You are frozen. The dream of Robert, the warm, safe fantasy you've built, suddenly turns into a nightmare. You look at him, and for the first time you have to wonder, did he do it? Did he do it for me? You wanted him free. But not like this. Never like this. The scandal is immediate and catastrophic. In France, Mary, Queen of Scots, your rival, laughs and says, "The Queen of England is about to marry her horsekeeper, who has killed his wife to make room for her." You are standing on a precipice. One step forward marrying Robert means confirming everyone's worst suspicions. It means you are an accomplice to murder. It might mean losing your throne. One step back means losing the only man you have ever truly loved. You look at Robert. He is pale, desperate, pleading his innocence. He knows what this looks like. He knows the crown is slipping through his fingers. You take a breath. The girl who survived the tower, the daughter of Henry VIII, takes over. You push the heartbreak down deep, into that cold, hard place where you keep your trauma. You order an investigation. You distance yourself. You do not marry him. But you do not banish him either. Because even now, with the ghost of Amy Robsart standing between you, you cannot let him go. You are standing in the eye of a hurricane, and the wind is screaming the name Amy Robsart. The news from Cumnor Place is gruesome and bizarre. Amy was found at the bottom of a flight of stairs, 8 steps, to be precise. Her neck was broken, but here's the kicker. Her headdress was still perfectly in place. How does a woman fall downstairs violently enough to snap her vertebrae but not disturb her bonnet? It defies physics. It screams staged. The coroner's jury is convened. This is 1,560. So forensic science is basically 2 guys looking at a body and shrugging. But even they are baffled. The verdict comes back as misadventure and accident. But nobody believes it. Not in the alehouses of London, not in the courts of Europe, and certainly not in the terrified corners of your own mind. You look at Robert. He is frantic. He knows his life is on the line. If he is proven to be a murderer, he won't just lose you. He'll lose his head. He begs you to protect him. He swears he had nothing to do with it. I was here with you, he insists. And he was. But hired killers are a thing. Everyone knows that. You are watching your approval ratings plummet. You are the Virgin Queen, the Protestant hope, and now you look like a tawdry accomplice in a crime of passion. The scandal is so toxic that even your staunchest allies, like Cecil, are distancing themselves. Cecil, in fact, had eerily predicted Amy's death just days before it happened, telling the Spanish ambassador she was ill when she was perfectly healthy. Was Cecil involved? Did he orchestrate this to make Robert so radioactive that you could never marry him? Historians still argue about this. Did Dudley do it? Did Cecil frame him? Did Amy, suffering from breast cancer, as some modern pathology suggests, have a spontaneous bone fracture and fall? Or was it suicide, a desperate act by a depressed woman to ruin her husband's life from beyond the grave? If it was suicide, it worked. It was the ultimate revenge. By dying, Amy Robsart built a wall between you and Robert that no amount of love could climb. You make a cold, calculated decision. You banish Robert from court while the investigation is ongoing. It tears you apart. You sit in your chambers, staring at the empty space where he used to stand. You snap at your ladies. You don't eat, but you are a survivor first and a lover second. You know that to marry him now would be political suicide. Eventually, the inquest clears him. He returns to court. But things are different. The easy, carefree intimacy is gone, replaced by a heavy, shadowed desperation. He proposes to you. He gets on his knees. He shows you the plans for the wedding. You waver. God, you waver. You love him. You want to say yes. You want to be happy. But then you look at Cecil. You look at the grim faces of your counsel. You hear the whispers of wife killer. You say no. You pull him up from his knees and you tell him, gently but firmly, that it cannot happen. Not now. Maybe not ever. Robert is devastated. He rages. He sulks. He flirts with other women to make you jealous, which works, by the way. You are furiously possessive. But he stays. He accepts his role as the eternal suitor, the favorite, the man who holds your heart but can never hold your hand in marriage. You compensate him, of course. You shower him with titles. You make him the Earl of Leicester. The ceremony is lavish. You are there, sword in hand, draping the ermine cape over his shoulders. As you fasten the clasp, you lean in and tickle his neck. It's a shocking breach of protocol. It's a public claim. He is my Earl, that tickle says. He belongs to me. But you also do something strange. You suggest him as a husband for Mary, Queen of Scots. Yes, your rival, the woman who calls you a bastard. You offer her your own beloved Robert. Is it a genuine diplomatic move? Are you trying to neutralize Mary by marrying her to your loyal puppet? Or is it a test? Do you want to see if Robert would actually leave you for a crown? Robert is horrified. He doesn't want Mary. He wants you. The plan falls apart, as you probably knew it would. But it shows the twisted, complex nature of your relationship. You push him away, you pull him back. It's a dance of power and pain. Meanwhile, the ghost of Amy Robsart fades, but never truly leaves. She becomes the silent third wheel in your relationship. Every time you look at Robert, you see the shadow of the woman who had to die for him to be free. It's a buzzkill, to say the least. And let's not forget the practical side of things. You are getting older. The pressure to marry isn't just about romance. It's about succession. If you die without an heir, England falls into civil war. The council is begging you to marry someone. Anyone. Just not the horse guy. So, you open the door to the suitors, the foreign princes, the archdukes, the kings. You turn your court into a dating show where the contestants are the most powerful men in Europe. You smile, you flirt, you translate their compliments into Latin. You play the game. But at night, when the ambassadors are gone and the candles are guttering low, it's Robert you call for. It's Robert who sits by your fire. You argue, you fight, you scream at each other. He demands to know why you won't marry him. You tell him he is a fool to ask. I will have here but one mistress and no master. You tell him. It's the truest thing you ever say. You have realized that marriage means submission. By law, a husband controls his wife. If you marry Robert, he becomes your king. He becomes your master. And after Seymour, after Henry VIII, the idea of a master makes your blood run cold. So you keep him in this golden cage. He is the favorite, the Earl. the love of your life, but he will never be your husband. And in the dark corridors of your palaces, the ghost of Amy Robsart whispers, "Good choice." But the vacuum you leave by rejecting Robert has to be filled. If not the Englishman you love, then who? The map of Europe is unrolling before you, and a new challenger is approaching. He is dark, brooding, fanatically Catholic, and technically, your brother-in-law, Philip of Spain. He was married to your sister Mary. He was the King of England for a few miserable years. He knows the layout of the palace. He knows the players. And now that Mary is dead, he thinks he can just slide over to the other side of the bed and marry you. It's gross. It's incestuous, by the church laws of the time. And it's incredibly dangerous. Spain is the superpower of the age. Marrying Philip would make England a puppet state again. Rejecting him might make him an enemy. You look at his portrait. You remember his cold, polite manners when he was in England. You remember how miserable he made your sister. And you think, absolutely not. But you can't just say, ew, no. You have to be diplomatic. You have to play the maybe game. You have to keep him dangling, hoping, waiting, while you quietly rebuild your navy and strengthen your borders. You are about to enter a geopolitical staring contest with the most powerful man on earth. And you are going to do it with a smile on your face and a fan in your hand. You are holding a letter from Philip II of Spain, and it feels heavier than the paper it's written on. It feels like a loaded gun. Philip is not a man who handles rejection well. He is the ruler of half the known world. Spain, the Netherlands, vast chunks of the Americas. He calls himself the Catholic King, and he takes that title very, very seriously. To him, you are a problem to be solved. You are a heretic queen on a shaky throne, and the easiest way to fix you is to marry you, he proposes. It's not a romantic proposal with roses and poetry. It's a business merger. He offers to sacrifice himself for the good of England and the church by taking you as his wife. He actually uses that phrasing like he's doing you a massive favor by stepping into the muddy puddle of English politics. The arrogance is breathtaking. You remember him from when he was married to your sister Mary. He was stiff, miserable, and clearly hated English weather and English beer. He treated Mary with a cold, distant politeness that broke her heart. You watched her wither under his neglect. You saw her desperate, delusional pregnancies, trying to give him the heir he demanded. You saw her drain the English treasury to fund his wars. You think, not me, never me. But you can't just ghost the King of Spain. That's how wars start. You have to be smart. You have to be the virgin queen, the elusive prize. You write back. You are polite. You are vague. You say things like, I am not yet ready to change my state, and my heart is not inclined to marriage at this time. You wrap your no in so many layers of flowery diplomatic speak that it takes his ambassadors 3 days to figure out they've been rejected. Philip is annoyed. He warns you that without his protection, France will invade. He warns you that the Pope will excommunicate you. He tries to bully you into submission. You don't budge. You tell his ambassador, the Count of Feria, I am already married to the Kingdom of England. It's a brilliant soundbite. It frames your singleness not as a failure, but as a supreme act of loyalty to your people. You are framing the narrative, turning your vulnerability into your greatest strength. But Philip isn't the only one knocking at the door. While you are busy dodging the Spanish juggernaut, the rest of Europe is lining up. And here comes the weirdest one of the bunch. King Erik the Eve of Sweden. If Philip was the cold, calculating CEO, Erik is the obsessive, stalkerish fanboy. He is the King of Sweden, which is a rising power, but he is also eccentric. And by eccentric, I mean he has a recurring belief that he is made of glass. He falls in love with you from afar. He has never met you. He has only seen portraits, which, let's be honest, are heavily photoshopped in the 16th century style. But he is obsessed. He starts sending you letters. Not just a few, hundreds. He writes to you in Latin, calling you his star, his goddess. Then the gifts start arriving. You're used to diplomatic gifts, jeweled brooches, fine horses, maybe a nice tapestry. Erik sends everything. He sends crates of reindeer jerky. He sends furs. He sends 18 piebald horses, which are actually quite cool. He sends chests of silver bullion. It's like Hez trying to buy you on Amazon Prime. His ambassador arrives in London wearing a crimson velvet coat with a heart embroidered on it, pierced by an arrow. It's so extra. The English court, which is used to the subtle, deadly shade of French and Spanish diplomacy, doesn't know what to do with this aggressive Swedish love bombing. You are amused, you like the attention, you definitely like the free stuff. You wear his jewels, you praise his horses. But you have zero intention of marrying him. Sweden is too far away, and Eric sounds intense. But Eric doesn't take a hint. He starts planning to come to England himself. He packs his bags. He orders a fleet of ships. He designs special uniforms for his sailors. This is a problem. If a foreign king shows up on your doorstep with a wedding ring, and you say no to his face, it's a massive diplomatic incident. It's humiliating for him. You write to him frantically, "Do not come. I am not worthy of such a journey. Stay in Sweden. It's lovely this time of year." He ignores you. He sets sail. Fortunately for you, and unfortunately for his seasick sailors, a massive storm hits the North Sea. His fleet is scattered. He has to turn back. You breathe a sigh of relief. The weather, once again, proves to be England's best defense mechanism. But Eric doesn't give up. He keeps proposing for years. He even starts sending his brother, Duke John, to woo you on his behalf. Duke John is handsome, charming, and sane. You actually like him better. You flirt with the brother to annoy the king. It's a messy, family drama dynamic that you manipulate perfectly to keep Sweden as an ally without ever walking down the aisle. Historians still argue whether Eric was truly mad or just misunderstood. He eventually goes completely off the rails, murders some nobles with his own hands, and gets deposed by his brothers, including the handsome John. He dies in prison, allegedly from eating a bowl of pea soup laced with arsenic. It's a grim end, and it validates your decision. You dodged a bullet, or rather, a bowl of poison soup. So, you've rejected the Spanish superpower and the Swedish stalker. You are feeling pretty good about yourself. You are the independent queen, juggling the hearts of Europe like a circus performer. But biology doesn't care about your diplomatic victories. It is October 1562. You are at Hampton Court Palace. You start to feel unwell. A fever spikes. Your throat feels like you've swallowed razor blades. You ache all over. You collapse. The doctors are summoned. They hover over your bed, muttering in Latin, looking grave. They examine your skin. It's smallpox. In the 16th century, smallpox isn't just a disease. It's a death sentence. It kills 30% of its victims, and those it spares, it leaves scarred, blind, or disfigured. You slip into a coma. The fever rages. You are delirious. You can't speak. You can't move. The panic in the court is absolute. The council gathers in the hallway, terrified. If you die, there is no heir. There is no plan. Mary, Queen of Scots, is the next in line by blood, but she is Catholic and French. The Protestant lords know they will lose their heads if she takes the throne. Civil war is hours away. They start arguing about who to crown. Some say Lady Catherine Grey. Some say the Earl of Huntingdon. They are carving up your kingdom while your body is still warm. But you are not dead yet. In your delirium, you wake up for a lucid moment. You see the council around your bed. You see their fear. And you see Robert Dudley. He is weeping. He is devastated. Even at death's door, your mind goes to him. You gasp out an order. You appoint Robert Dudley as protector of the realm. You give him a salary of £20,000 a year. You demand that he be the one to look after your household. It is a shocking final request. It shows that, stripped of all your defenses, he is the only person you trust. Then you fall back into the darkness. The doctors decide on a desperate measure. They wrap you in red cloth, believing the color red draws out the humors of the pox. They place you near a roaring fire. They force warm liquids down your throat. It's a coin toss. You will either wake up, or you will become another dead Tudor. You wake up, the fire is roaring, the red curtains are glowing, and you feel like you've been run over by a carriage. But you are alive. The fever breaks. The council breathes a collective sigh of relief that probably creates a draft in the hallway. But there is a cost. Smallpox takes its toll. Your skin, once praised by poets as milk and roses, is ravaged. You have scars. For a woman whose power is partly tied to her image as a timeless, celestial beauty, this is a disaster. You start to wear heavier makeup. Ceruse. It's a mixture of white lead and vinegar. It gives you that ghostly, flawless white complexion that becomes your trademark. It covers the pockmarks perfectly. The only problem? It's slowly poisoning you. The lead seeps into your pores, causing hair loss, gray skin, and eventually, death. But that's a problem for future Elizabeth. Present Elizabeth needs to look invincible. The near-death experience changes the mood in the council. The fear has shaken them. They realize how fragile the whole system is. We cannot go through this again, they say. She must marry. She must name an heir. Parliament meets. They are aggressive. They draft a petition demanding you pick a husband. They basically tell you, do your job, woman. You are furious. You storm into Parliament. You give a speech that blisters the paint off the walls. You tell them that marriage is a personal matter and you will not be bullied. You pull out the ring metaphor again. You point to your coronation ring and say, I am married to England. But you know they have a point. You need to keep the game going. You need another suitor to distract them. Enter the Archduke Charles of Austria. He is the son of the Holy Roman Emperor. He is Catholic, a problem, but not too Catholic, maybe workable. He is wealthy, powerful, and lives far enough away that he won't be annoying. Cecil is thrilled. He loves this match. He starts negotiations. He sends envoys to Vienna. He drafts marriage treaties. You play along. You ask about Charles' age, his height, his personality. You send your own envoy, Thomas Sussex, to check him out. Sussex writes back glowing reports. He is wise. He is courteous. He speaks Latin well. But you have one deal breaker: religion. You demand that Charles convert to Protestantism, or at least, that he attend Anglican services with you. The Emperor says no. Charles must remain Catholic. He can attend Mass in private, but he won't convert. This is the sticking point. You use it like a shield. I cannot marry a man who does not share my faith, you say piously. My conscience will not allow it. It's a brilliant excuse. It makes you look principled, not stubborn. The negotiations drag on for 7 years. 7 years of letters, envoys, gifts, and maybe you keep the Habsburgs hoping, which keeps them from allying with France or Spain against you. It's a masterclass in diplomatic stalling. While you are busy not marrying Charles, you are also busy noticing other men. Let's talk about Christopher Hatton. He is not a prince, he is not a duke, he is a lawyer, a gentleman from Northamptonshire. He catches your eye at a masque, a court party. He is dancing, and apparently he is a very good dancer, tall, handsome, and athletic. You are smitten. You like handsome men. You like men who can keep up with you. You invite him to your private chambers. You start giving him nicknames. You call him your lids, eyelids, or your sheep. The court rolls its eyes. Here we go again, they think. Another Dudley. But Hatton is different. He isn't ambitious in the scary way Dudley is. He is devoted. He writes you letters that are so sappy they would make a Hallmark card blush. To serve you is heaven, to lack you is more than hell's torment. He writes, you shower him with favors, you pay off his debts, you give him lands, and then you do something wild. You make him Lord Chancellor. This is the highest legal office in the land. It's usually held by a seasoned judge or a bishop. Hatton is a guy who dances well. The lawyers are outraged. They refuse to work with him at first. They say he doesn't know a writ from a waffle. But Hatton surprises everyone. He works hard, he is loyal, he is sensible, he turns out to be a decent chancellor, and he remains your lids, your faithful sheep, for the rest of his life. He never marries. He stays single for you. This is the pattern. You collect these men, Dudley, Hatton, Heneage, Raleigh. You create a circle of favorites who are utterly dependent on you. They are your surrogate family. They give you the adoration and intimacy you crave without the legal shackles of marriage. But the international pressure cooker is heating up again. Mary, Queen of Scots, has arrived in England. She fled Scotland after her own disastrous marriage to the guy who blew up her previous husband. Long story. She crossed the border, expecting you to help her. Sister Queen? She calls you. You lock her up. You have no choice. She is a threat. As long as she is loose, Catholics will rally to her. So you put her under house arrest in various castles, Bolton, Tutbury, Sheffield. For the next 19 years, Mary is the thorn in your side. She is the romantic victim in the tower. She writes letters begging to see you. Let me come to court. Let me explain, she pleads. You never meet her. Not once. You know that if you meet her, her charm might work on you. Or worse, you might feel sympathy. It is safer to keep her as a faceless prisoner, a problem to be managed on paper. But keeping a queen in prison is dangerous. Plots start to bubble up. The Northern Rebellion, the Rodolphi plot. Men plan to assassinate you, free Mary, and marry her to the Duke of Norfolk. Norfolk is your cousin, the premier Duke of England, and he is plotting against you. You discover the plot. You arrest Norfolk. He is sent to the Tower. The evidence is damning. He was writing love letters to Mary, whom he had never met, and planning a Spanish invasion. The council demands his head. He is a traitor. Execute him. You hesitate. You hate signing death warrants, especially for family. You sign the warrant, then you cancel it. You sign it again. You cancel it again. You cry. You pace the floor. Cecil is relentless. The Queen's safety depends on this, he says. Finally, you sign it and don't cancel. Norfolk is beheaded on Tower Hill. It's a turning point. You have killed a cousin. You have shown that you will spill noble blood to keep your crown. The fair maiden image is gone. You are the Queen of Justice now. And amidst all this blood and ink, a new suitor appears on the horizon. A French one. The Duke of Anjou. Henry. He is the brother of the French king. He is young. He is Catholic. And his mother is the terrifying Catherine de' Medici. Catherine wants a throne for her son. She proposes a match. You are skeptical. You are nearly 40. Henry is 19. The age gap is significant. You call him a boy. You joke about it. But the politics make sense. An alliance with France would checkmate Spain. It would isolate Mary, Queen of Scots. So you start the dance again. But this time, there is a twist. Henry doesn't want you. He has heard rumors about your leg ulcer, a lie. He calls you an old creature. He is rude. He prefers his own circle of male favorites in France, the Mignons. You are insulted. You are the Queen of England. Who is this French boy to turn up his nose at you? You turn the tables. You reject him before he can reject you publicly. You say his religion is the problem. You say you are not ready. But Catherine de' Medici is not a woman who gives up. She has another son, Francis, the Duke of Alençon. He is even younger. He is short. He is badly scarred by smallpox. He has a nose that is arguably too big for his face, but he is willing. And thus begins the frog courtship, the strangest, and perhaps the most genuine of your later romances. So, we have a new player in the game, Francis, Duke of Alençon, or as you affectionately call him, my frog. Why a frog? Maybe it's because he's French. Maybe it's because of his face. Poor Francis was ravaged by smallpox, leaving him with deep scars and a slightly misshapen nose. He is short, arguably ugly, and 22 years younger than you. On paper, this is a joke, a mismatch of epic proportions. But Francis has something the other suitors didn't. He has hustle. While other princes send ambassadors to do their wooing, Francis decides to show up. He comes to England in secret. Well, secret by royal standards, which means everyone knows. He walks into your presence, not with the arrogance of Philip or the madness of Eric, but with a kind of desperate puppy dog charm. And surprisingly, you like him. You are 46 years old. The world tells you that you are past your prime, that your womb is dry, that your beauty is fading. And here is a young, energetic prince who looks at you with adoration. He writes you letters that are passionate, bordering on erotic. He ignores the scars, the age, the wig. He treats you like a woman, not a monument. You flirt back. You give him a jeweled frog earring to wear. You dance with him. You sit with him in your private apartments, away from the prying eyes of the court. For the first time in years, you seem genuinely happy. You seem in love. Or are you? The historians are split on this one. Was the frog courtship a masterstroke of diplomacy to keep France from attacking the Netherlands? Or was it the last, desperate grasp of a lonely woman for personal happiness? It's probably both. You are Elizabeth, after all. You never do anything for just one reason. But the country hates it. The idea of a French Catholic husband drives the English public insane. A Puritan named John Stubbs writes a pamphlet called The Discovery of a Gaping Gulf, warning that this marriage will destroy England. He calls it an unnatural union. You are furious. You order Stubbs arrested. You order his right hand cut off. The execution takes place in the marketplace. Stubbs is brought out. The cleaver falls, his hand is severed, and then, in a moment of terrifying English stoicism, Stubbs takes off his hat with his remaining hand and shouts, "God save the Queen," before fainting. The crowd is silent. They don't cheer. They are horrified. It's a moment where you realize you have gone too far. You have misjudged your people. They love you, but they will not accept the frog. The marriage negotiations drag on. You promise to marry him. You sign pledges. You even kiss him in public, giving him a ring. The French ambassadors are popping champagne. But then, the classic Elizabeth twist. You start crying. You tell your ladies you won't survive childbirth. You tell the council you can't go through with it. You tell Francis that the English people will never accept him. You break it off. Francis is crushed. He reportedly throws the ring on the floor and curses the fickleness of women. He leaves England, heartbroken and humiliated. He goes to the Netherlands to try and be a hero there, fails miserably, and dies a few years later. When you hear of his death, you weep. You really weep. You write to his mother, Catherine, calling yourself a widow who never married. You mourn the frog. Maybe you didn't want to marry him, but you liked being courted by him. You liked the possibility. Now, the door is closed. You are 50 years old. The game of matrimonial diplomacy is over. You will never have a husband. You will never have a child. The realization settles on you like a heavy cloak. The succession is still unsecured. The question, who comes next, hangs over every council meeting like a dark cloud. But you don't have time to wallow. The world is getting dangerous. The Jesuits are coming. These are the special forces of the Catholic Church. Priests trained in Rome, smuggled into England in disguise, hiding in priest holes, secret compartments in the walls of Catholic manor houses. Their mission, to save souls. Your government's interpretation, to incite rebellion and assassinate you. Your spy master, Francis Walsingham, is on high alert. He is the original M. He has a network of spies that covers Europe. He opens letters, he breaks codes, he tortures suspects. He uncovers the Throckmorton plot. It's the usual suspects: Spain, the Pope, and Mary, Queen of Scots. The evidence is mounting. Mary isn't just a passive prisoner. She is the active center of the web. Walsingham wants her dead. The council wants her dead. Parliament wants her dead. But you resist. You still cling to the idea of the divine right of kings. If you execute an anointed queen, you set a precedent. If heads of queens can roll, then your head is not safe either. You prefer to keep her locked up, a living ghost. But then comes the Babington plot. It's 1586. A young Catholic hothead named Anthony Babington gathers a group of friends. They plan to kill you and put Mary on the throne. They write to Mary in code. What they don't know is that the beer barrel delivery man, the guy smuggling the letters in and out of Mary's prison, is a double agent working for Walsingham. Walsingham reads every letter. He waits. He lets the plot ripen. He waits for Mary to write back, to explicitly endorse the assassination. And she does. She writes a letter approving the plan. She signs her own death warrant. Walsingham brings the letter to you. He lays it on your desk. There is no ambiguity this time. She wants you dead. The trial is held at Fotheringhay Castle. Mary defends herself with brilliance and arrogance, but the verdict is a foregone conclusion. Guilty. The death warrant sits on your desk for weeks. You ignore it. You talk about the weather. You go hunting. Your counselors are pulling their hair out. Sign it, they beg. She will kill you if you don't kill her first. Finally, you sign it. You bury it in a stack of other papers and hand it to your secretary, William Davison, telling him to get the Great Seal attached but not to send it yet. You want to keep it as a threat. Davison, terrified of your indecision but more terrified of the council, takes the warrant to Cecil. Cecil doesn't hesitate. He sends the executioner to Fotheringhay immediately, without telling you. The 8th of February 1587. Mary, Queen of Scots, walks into the Great Hall. She is dressed in black velvet. When she takes off her outer gown, she reveals a crimson petticoat, the color of Catholic martyrdom. It is pure theater. She lays her head on the block. The axe falls. It takes 2, maybe 3 blows to sever the neck. When the executioner lifts the head, the red wig comes off in his hand, revealing her short, gray hair. The lips are still moving. When the news reaches you, you explode. You scream. You rage. You throw things. You blame Davison. You blame Cecil. I didn't mean for it to happen yet, you shout. You throw Davison in the tower. You banish Cecil from your presence for months. Is this real grief? Or is it a performance to wash your hands of the guilt? To tell the other kings of Europe, it wasn't me. It was my rogue advisors. Probably a bit of both. You are a survivor. You know that killing a queen is a sin against the natural order. But deep down, there is a cold, quiet relief. The rival is gone. The focus is gone. But the consequences are coming. Philip of Spain hears the news. He has been looking for an excuse to invade England for years. Now he has one. The heretic whore has murdered a Catholic queen. It is a holy war now. He starts building ships. Big ships. Lots of ships. The Armada is coming. The year is 1588, and the horizon is turning dark with sails. The Spanish Armada. 130 ships. 30,000 men. They are coming to invade England, depose you, and reinstall Catholicism at the point of a pike. This isn't just a battle. It's an apocalypse event for your kingdom. You are 55 years old. The court is in a panic. Your advisors are running around like headless chickens, checking maps and counting gunpowder barrels. But you are eerily calm. This is the moment you have been training for since you were that terrified girl in the tower. The waiting is over. The game is afoot. You decide to go to Tilbury. This is where your army has gathered a ragtag group of militia, poorly armed, probably hungry, staring out at the Thames estuary waiting for the Spanish monster to arrive. Your generals, terrified for your safety, beg you to stay in London. It's too dangerous. They cry. There could be assassins. You ignore them. You put on a white velvet gown. You put a silver breastplate over it, a striking visual of the warrior virgin. You mount a white horse, and you ride out to the troops. This is the rock star moment. The Super Bowl halftime show of the 16th century. You ride through the ranks. You look the soldiers in the eye. And then you deliver the speech. I know I have the body but of a weak and feeble woman. But I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too. It is electric. The soldiers go wild. They would charge into hell for you right now. You have turned your gender, your perceived weakness, into your greatest weapon. You are the mother defending her children, the bride defending her land. Meanwhile, in the English Channel, your sea dogs are at work. Drake, Hawkins, Frobisher, they are sailing smaller, faster ships. They are nipping at the heels of the massive Spanish galleons. The Spanish ships are floating fortresses, but they are clumsy. Your ships are agile predators. And then, you get lucky. Or, as you will later claim, God blows his wind. You send fire ships, old vessels packed with pitch and gunpowder, set alight drifting into the anchored Spanish fleet at Calais. The Spanish panic. They cut their anchors. They scatter into the night, disorganized and terrified. Then the storm hits. A massive gale sweeps up the channel, blowing the Spanish ships north, around Scotland and Ireland. They are smashed against the rocks. The invincible armada is broken not by English cannonballs, but by the weather and bad luck. God blew and they were scattered. You mint on the commemorative coins. It's the ultimate PR victory. You didn't just win. God chose you. The euphoria in England is off the charts. You are at the zenith of your power. You are Gloriana. You are the fairy queen. The poets are writing sonnets about you faster than they can sharpen their quills. But in the midst of this triumph, tragedy strikes. The personal cost of your reign is always high. Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester, your sweet Robin. He was there at Tilbury, riding beside you. But he was sick. He had been unwell for some time, stomach cancer perhaps, or malaria. After the victory, he leaves for Buxton to take the waters, hoping to heal. He writes you a letter. He asks after your health. He signs it, Your Majesty's most faithful and obedient servant. Days later, he is dead. The news hits you like a physical blow. You lock yourself in your room. You refuse to speak. You refuse to eat. For days, the court holds its breath. Is the Queen dead too? Is she broken? Cecil eventually has to order the door broken down. They find you staring at the wall, clutching his last letter. You will keep that letter in a treasure box by your bed for the rest of your life. On it, you have written in your own hand, his last letter. It is the end of an era. The man who defined your emotional life for 30 years is gone. The anchor is cut. You are adrift. But life at court doesn't stop for grief, and nature abhors a vacuum. With Dudley gone, a new space opens up in your affections. And who steps into it? Walter Raleigh has been around for a while, but now his star rises. He is tall, dark, handsome, and dangerously arrogant. He is a poet, a soldier, an explorer. He speaks with a broad Devon accent that you find charmingly rustic. He catches your attention with a gesture, the famous cloak in the mud story. Did he really throw his expensive plush cloak over a puddle so you wouldn't muddy your shoes? Maybe. It sounds like something he would do. He is theatrical. He understands that you love a grand gesture. You nickname him Water, a pun on his name, Walter, which was pronounced water back then. You shower him with monopolies. You give him Durham House. He becomes the captain of the guard. Raleigh is different from Dudley. He is an intellectual equal. He writes poetry to you. Silence in love bewrays more woe than words, though near so witty. You write poetry back. It's a literary flirtation. But Raleigh is also restless. He wants to explore. He wants to find El Dorado. He organizes expeditions to the New World. He claims a vast chunk of North America and names it Virginia, in honor of you, the Virgin Queen. It's flattering. You have a whole continent named after your celibacy. But Raleigh has a flaw. He is arrogant. The other courtiers hate him. He struts around like he owns the place. And, like every man in your life, he has a secret. He falls in love. Not with you, with one of your ladies-in-waiting. Bess Throckmorton, this is the cardinal sin. Your ladies are off limits. They are your Vestal virgins. If they marry without your permission, it is a personal betrayal. It means they prefer a man to you. Raleigh marries Bess in secret. She gets pregnant. They try to hide it. But nothing stays hidden in your court. When you find out, the rage is volcanic. It's not just the rule breaking, it's the jealousy. Another man choosing a younger woman. Another reminder that you are the queen, but not the wife. You throw them both in the Tower of London. He shall not have his cake and eat it too. You might have shouted. You strip Raleigh of his favors. You leave him to rot for a while. Eventually, you release him. Because he's useful, and because he flatters you shamelessly from prison. Writing that seeing you is like beholding the sun. But the trust is broken. He is banished from court for 5 years. The circle is shrinking. Dudley is dead. Raleigh is disgraced. Hatton dies in 1591. Your old friends, the people who knew you as a girl, are disappearing one by one. You are growing older. The face in the mirror is lined. The red hair is fading and disappearing, replaced by elaborate red wigs. Your teeth are blackening from sugar consumption. You love sweets, and Tudor dentistry is non-existent. But you are still the queen. You are still the sun. And as the old planets fade, a new, volatile comet is entering the solar system. He is young. He is beautiful. He is the stepson of Robert Dudley, Robert Devereux, the Earl of Essex. He bursts onto the scene with the energy of a supernova. He is in his 20s. You are in your 50s. The age gap is massive, unsettling. But you are captivated. He reminds you of Dudley. He has the same fire, the same arrogance. You spoil him. You play cards with him until the early hours. You listen to his brash opinions on politics. You let him get away with things no one else would dare. But Essex is not Dudley. Dudley knew when to stop pushing. Essex does not. He thinks he can manage you. He thinks he can control the old woman. He is making a fatal mistake. He forgets that the old woman is the daughter of Henry VIII, and she has survived things that would make him wet his velvet breeches. The stage is set for the final, tragic act of your personal life. The boy who would be king, and the queen who refuses to abdicate her power. You are navigating the tricky waters of the late 1560 seconds, and while your heart is doing cartwheels over handsome Englishmen like Dudley and Hatton, your head is stuck in a diplomatic vice grip. The council is nagging you again. Marry, your majesty, for the love of God. Marry. They have a candidate. The Archduke Charles of Austria. Again. We touched on him briefly before, but this negotiation is the slow burn saga of your reign. It drags on for 7 years. 7 years! In modern dating terms, that's an eternity if it's complicated. Charles is the son of the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand I. He is a Habsburg. That means he comes with serious baggage. A massive jaw, the famous Habsburg jaw, a powerful family, and, most problematically, the Catholic faith. You are the Protestant heroine. He is the Catholic prince. It's Romeo and Juliet, but with more lawyers and less poison, so far. Cecil is the driving force here. He is obsessed with this match. He sees a Habsburg alliance as the ultimate security blanket against France and Spain. He drafts treaties that are thicker than a Bible. He works tirelessly to smooth over the religious bumps. You are less enthusiastic. You've never met Charles. You've only seen portraits, and you know portraits lie. You send your trusted courtier, the Earl of Sussex, to Vienna to scout him out. It's basically a royal background check. Sussex writes back, "Has a fan." He tells you Charles is handsome enough, ringing endorsement, has a goodly shape, and seems reasonable. He even hints that Charles might be flexible on religion. You play along. You wear the ribbons Charles sends. You talk about him fondly in public. You let the Spanish and French ambassadors think you are this close to signing the deal. Why? Because a single queen who is about to marry is a powerful geopolitical player. As long as you are available, everyone wants to be your friend. The moment you marry, you pick a side, and the other side becomes your enemy. So, you stay in the doorway, neither in nor out. But the religious issue is the real roadblock. The emperor insists Charles must have a private Catholic mass in London. The English public would riot. You tell the emperor, "I cannot allow it. My people would tear him apart." It's a valid point, but it's also a convenient exit strategy. You can blame the will of the people for your own reluctance. The negotiations finally fizzle out in 1567. Charles, tired of waiting, marries his cousin. A classic Habsburg move. You send him a polite note of congratulations, probably breathing a sigh of relief. You have successfully wasted everyone's time for nearly a decade, kept England safe, and remained single. Mission accomplished. But while you were stalling, Charles, something dark was brewing closer to home. The Northern Rebellion. This is the backlash. The old Catholic nobility in the north of England, the Percys, the Nevilles are tired of your Protestant rule. They are tired of your upstart advisors like Cecil. They want the old religion back. They want Mary, Queen of Scots, who is currently your prisoner, on the throne. In 1569, they rise up. They storm Durham Cathedral, tear up the English Bible, and celebrate a Catholic Mass. It is open treason. You are terrified. This is the first major armed challenge to your reign. If they march south, if the Spanish send help, you could lose everything. But you don't panic. You send your army north under the command of, who else? The Earl of Sussex, the guy who liked Charles. And your favorite, Robert Dudley, now Earl of Leicester, is ready to lead the reserves. The rebellion collapses. The northern earls are incompetent leaders. They flee to Scotland. Now comes the punishment, and it is brutal. You order martial law. You tell your commanders to hang a certain number of rebels in every village that supported the uprising. Hundreds of common men are strung up on village greens, their bodies left to rot as a warning. It is a grim, bloody purge. This shocks people. The merciful Elizabeth is gone. In her place is a monarch who will crush dissent with iron boots. You realize that sometimes to survive you have to be a tyrant. But the threat isn't over. In 1570, the Pope drops the nuclear option. He issues a papal bull, Regnans in Excelsis. It excommunicates you. It calls you a servant of wickedness. And most dangerously, it formally releases all your Catholic subjects from their allegiance to you. Basically, the Pope tells English Catholics, it's okay to kill her. In fact, it's your duty. This changes everything. Being a Catholic in England is no longer just a religious choice. It's now a political crime. It forces you to crack down harder. The spy networks expand. The priest hunters get busy. You are now officially the target of the entire Catholic world. Assassins are sharpening their daggers. In this atmosphere of paranoia, you need friends. You need distraction. You need the French. This leads us to the next bizarre chapter in your love life, the French match. But not the one you're thinking of. Before the frog, there was his older brother, Henry, Duke of Anjou. This negotiation is a masterclass in comedy. Henry is difficult. He is arguably more of a diva than you are. He wears excessive amounts of jewelry, uses heavy perfumes, and is rumored to be having affairs with half the French court, mostly men. He also calls you names behind your back. He calls you a public whore because of the Dudley rumors. He says he would never marry a woman with a bad leg. You hear these insults. Your spies tell you everything. You are furious, but you swallow your pride. Why? Because you need France to stop Spain. You continue the negotiations. You send Walsingham to Paris to flatter him. You pretend to be interested. It's a farce. Everyone knows it won't happen. Henry is too Catholic, too flamboyant, and frankly, too annoying. But you keep the ball in the air for 2 years. Eventually, Henry gets elected King of Poland. Random, I know, and leaves the chat. You are rejected, but secretly thrilled. This clears the deck for the real French courtship, the one with the frog, which we've already covered. But it shows your pattern. You use marriage negotiations as a shield. You dangle yourself as the prize to keep the wolves at bay. It's exhausting. You are juggling the egos of kings, the religious wars of Europe, and the unruly passions of your own subjects. And through it all, you are getting older. The Virgin Queen image is becoming harder to maintain. The white lead makeup is getting thicker. The wigs are getting bigger. You are becoming an icon, a painted saint, freezing yourself in time so that your people don't see the frightened, aging woman underneath. But the heart still wants what it wants. And just as the French distractions fade, your eyes turn back to your own court. To the men who are there, day in and day out. And there is one man who has been quietly rising in the background. A man who isn't a royal suitor, but a loyal servant. A man who captures a different part of your heart. Christopher Hatton. We mentioned him as the dancing chancellor. But let's dig deeper. Hatton is your comfort blanket. He is not a political powerhouse like Cecil. He is not a dangerous lover like Dudley. He is safe. He is adoring. He builds a massive palace, Holdenby House, just for you. It's huge. It has glass windows everywhere, which are insanely expensive. He basically bankrupts himself to build a house worthy of hosting you for a weekend. This is the nature of your relationships now. Men ruin themselves for you. They spend their fortunes, their youth, and sometimes their lives just to catch a glimpse of your smile. You are a goddess, and goddesses demand sacrifice, but you are also lonely. You write a poem during this time, on Monsieur's departure, likely about the frog, but it applies to everyone. I grieve and dare not show my discontent. I love and yet am forced to seem to hate. I do, yet dare not say I ever meant. I seem stark, mute, but inwardly do prate. I am and not, I freeze and yet am burned. Since from myself another self I turned. It is the cry of a woman trapped in a role. You can never just be, you must always perform. And as the 1,570 seconds turn into the 1,580 seconds, the performance is about to get much harder. The new generation is rising. The old guard is dying. And a young man with fire in his eyes and entitlement in his blood is about to step onto the stage. Essex is coming, and he will break your heart in a way none of the others ever did. Before we let the tragedy of Essex unfold that final, bloody act of your reign, we have to rewind the tape just a little. We have to look at how you became such an expert at handling difficult, entitled young men. You didn't just wake up one day knowing how to manipulate the male ego. You earned a PhD in it during the 1,570 seconds, specifically with the Valois family of France. If the Habsburgs were the rigid, boring corporate executives of Europe, the Valois were the eccentric, drug-addled rock stars. And at the center of this dysfunctional band is the matriarch, Catherine de' Medici. She is the Black Queen, a woman who allegedly keeps poisons in her glove compartment and navigates politics with the ruthlessness of a shark in a goldfish bowl. You respect her. In fact, you and Catherine are the two most powerful women in the world, circling each other like prize fighters, using your sons and your sexuality as weapons. Catherine is desperate to marry one of her boys to you. She needs England as a buffer against Spain. First, she offers you Charles IX, the king. You politely decline. He is young, unstable, and frankly, you prefer to be the king yourself. So, she pivots to her next son, Henry, the Duke of Anjou. This courtship is, without a doubt, the most bizarre, campy, and insulting episode of your romantic career. Henry is not like your other suitors. He is colorful. He is 19 years old. You are 37. In the 16th century, that's not just an age gap. That's a generational chasm. You are an old woman by the standards of the day, and he is a teenager who loves fashion more than he loves statecraft. Henry is a fascinating character. He is reported to wear heavy makeup, incredibly expensive perfumes, and earrings that dangle to his shoulders. He surrounds himself with a posse of handsome young men known as the mignons, the darlings. They dress in flamboyant silks, curl their hair, and generally scandalize the rugged, beef-eating English ambassadors. Historians still argue about Henry's sexuality. Was he gay? Was he gender fluid? Or was he just a Renaissance hipster pushing the boundaries of court fashion? To you, it doesn't matter. What matters is that he is a Valois prince, and talking to him keeps Spain nervous. But Henry is a diva. He doesn't want to marry you. In fact, he is quite vocal about it. While you are sitting in London, carefully orchestrating a diplomatic dance, Henry is in Paris making gagging noises. He calls you a public whore because of the rumors about you and Dudley. He tells his mother that he hears you have a fistula or a rotting ulcer on your leg, a nasty rumor spread by Spanish spies. He says he will not marry a woman with a bad leg and a ruined reputation. Your spies, of course, tell you everything. You hear the insults. You hear the mockery. A lesser woman would be crushed. You turn it into a weapon. You decide to play the role of the reluctant bride. You tell the French ambassadors, "I am too old for him. I am a barren stock. He would despise me." You fish for compliments, forcing them to swear up and down that you look 25 and that your leg is as pristine as a marble column. It's a power move. You force them to debase themselves with flattery just to keep the negotiation open. You also lean into the religious differences. Henry is fanatically Catholic, or at least, he performs Catholicism loudly. You are the Protestant champion. You turn the negotiation into a theological debate. You demand he give up his Mass. He refuses. You demand he adopt the English prayer book. He refuses. You write long, intellectual letters about the nature of the Eucharist, stalling for time, while Catherine de' Medici pulls her hair out. Why do you put up with the humiliation of courting a boy who insults you? Because while you are talking marriage, France cannot attack you. While the Anjou match is on the table, Philip of Spain has to sit on his hands. You are buying security with your dignity. There is a specific moment that captures the absurdity of it all. You are at a banquet, wearing a dress that probably costs more than the annual GDP of a small county. The French ambassador, La Mothe Fenelon, is there. You ask him, with a straight face, if the Duke of Anjou is truly as handsome as they say. You ask about his legs. You have a thing for legs. You ask if he is a good dancer. Fenelon, sweating in his doublet, assures you that Henry is a god among men. You smile, that thin, enigmatic Tudor smile, and say, "I fear I shall be like a mother to him." It's a joke, but it cuts deep. You are acknowledging the absurdity while controlling the narrative. You are not the desperate spinster. You are the benevolent matriarch considering a charity case. Meanwhile, the situation in France explodes. The street, Bartholomew's Day massacre occurs in 1572. Thousands of French Protestants, Huguenots, are butchered in the streets of Paris. The Seine runs red with blood. The order likely came from Catherine de' Medici, and Henry was reportedly involved, cheering on the slaughter. The news hits London like a shockwave. Your court goes into mourning. When the French ambassador comes to see you next, you and your entire council are dressed in black, standing in total silence. You stare him down. It is a moment of pure, silent theater. You are telling him, "We know what you did." The marriage negotiation with Henry is effectively dead. You cannot marry a man with Protestant blood on his hands, but you don't break it off immediately. You let it die a slow, lingering death, extracting a defensive treaty, the Treaty of Blois, as the consolation prize. You manage to get a military alliance out of a romance that never happened. Henry eventually goes off to be elected King of Poland, a job he hates, and eventually flees in the middle of the night before becoming King Henry III of France. He remains a frenemy for the rest of his life, a fellow monarch you exchange witty, guarded letters with. But this episode teaches you something important about the Virgin Queen brand. You realize that your singleness is a diplomatic superweapon, but it comes with a personal cost. You have to endure the speculation, the medical rumors, the insults to your vanity. You have to let men discuss your fertility in council chambers as if they are discussing the yield of a wheat field. You develop a thick skin. You layer the makeup on a little thicker. You joke a little louder. You lean into the grotesque. If they are going to call you an old woman, you will be the most terrifying, magnificent old woman they have ever seen. And just as the door closes on Henry, the Prince of Sodom, it opens for his brother, Francis, the Frog. We've already explored the tragedy of that relationship, the one suitor who actually seemed to like you, scars and all. But in the grand timeline of your heart, The transition from Henry to Francis is pivotal. It marks the shift from strategic impossibility to genuine possibility. With Henry, you were playing poker. With Francis, you almost folded and went all in. But now, the French chapter is truly closed. The Habsburgs are enemies. The Valois are exhausted. The map of Europe is hardening. And back in England, the generation of men who viewed you as a goddess is dying out. This brings us back to the twilight years. The post-Armada years. The years where you are safe, powerful, and incredibly lonely. The years where you make the fatal mistake of trying to recreate the past. You look around your court and you see the ghosts of Dudley, Hatton, and the others. You miss the energy. You miss the flirtation. You miss the feeling of being the center of a man's world. And there, standing in the spotlight, basking in the applause of the crowd, is the Earl of Essex. He has the swagger of Dudley. He has the military ambition of Raleigh. He has the youth that you have lost. He is a mirror reflecting your own glory back at you. But the reflection is distorted by his own monumental narcissism. You think you can handle him? You think, I handled Seymour, I handled Philip, I handled the Valois boys. I can handle this English upstart. But you are forgetting one thing. You are tired, and he is hungry. The dynamic with Essex starts as a game. It's the May-December romance to end all romances. He is in his early 20s. You are in your late 50s. He writes you letters calling you a divine nymph. He wears your glove on his arm during jousts. He sulks when you don't look at him. It's intoxicating. It makes you feel 30 again. You start forgiving him for things you would execute other men for. He turns his back on you in council. You scold him like a naughty puppy. He spends too much money. You pay his debts. But the court watches with growing unease. They see what you don't want to see. They see that Essex doesn't respect you. He sees you as a stepping stone. He sees an old woman clutching a scepter that is too heavy for her. And he thinks, I could hold that better. But before we plunge into the final, chaotic darkness of the Essex years, we have to rewind the clock one last time. We have to go back to the moment before the wig became a helmet and the makeup became a mask. We have to revisit the late 1570 seconds, when you were 46 years old, and you dared to dream, truly dream, that you might actually have it all. This is the story of the frog. We touched on Francis, Duke of Alençon, briefly before, but he deserves more than a footnote. He deserves a spotlight because he represents the most dangerous thing you ever let into your heart: hope. By 1578, the marriage game has become a tired joke. You have been dangling suitors for 20 years. The courts of Europe are bored. They think you are a tease. They think your womb is dried up. But then, Catherine de' Medici plays her final card. She offers you Francis. On paper, it is grotesque. Francis is 23 years younger than you. He is short, he is stunted, his face is deeply pitted from smallpox, and his nose is bulbous and slightly deformed. The English courtiers call him a toad behind his back. But you are intrigued. Maybe it's because he tries harder than anyone else. He sends you his favorite servant, Jean de Simier, to woo you by proxy. Simier is charming, witty, and arguably the most skilled flirt in Europe. You call him your monkey. He whispers sweet nothings in your ear. He steals your nightcap as a keepsake. He makes you laugh until your corset feels tight. He softens the ground. And then, Francis does the unthinkable. He comes to England. It is August 1579. He arrives in secret, disguised. You meet him at Greenwich Palace. You are nervous. You are self-conscious about your age. You are meeting a boy who could be your son. But when he walks in, something magical happens. He doesn't look at you like a diplomat assessing a treaty. He looks at you like a man seeing a woman. He kisses your hand. He speaks to you in soft, rapid French. He ignores the age gap. He ignores the power dynamic. He simply adores you. You fall for him. Hard. You give him the nickname Little Frog. It's affectionate, teasing, and intimate. A frog is a creature of transformation, isn't it? Kiss the frog. Get a prince. You want to believe in the fairy tale. For a few golden weeks, you live a life you thought was impossible. You have breakfast with him in your private chambers, a shocking breach of protocol. You walk with him in the gardens, arm in arm. You dance with him. He is a terrible dancer, clumsy and awkward, but you don't care. You find his awkwardness endearing. It makes him human. It makes him safe. Historians still argue. Was this love? Or was it a menopausal panic? A desperate chemical urge to grab the last branch before the waterfall? Whatever it is, it feels real. You tell your ladies-in-waiting that you have never been so happy. You tell the Spanish ambassador that you love him. You wear a veil to hide your blushes. You are acting like a teenager. But the bubble has to burst. The secret visit ends. Francis has to go back to France. Then the backlash begins. We mentioned John Stubbs and his severed hand before, but we need to sit with the feeling of that moment. The hatred from your people is visceral. They don't just dislike the match. They are disgusted by it. They see a young, Catholic Frenchman bedding their aging Protestant queen, and they recoil. It is an unnatural union. They scream in the pamphlets. It will bring God's wrath. You are hurt. Deeply, profoundly hurt. You thought your people loved you. You realize they love the idea of you, the Virgin Queen, the symbol. They don't love the woman Elizabeth. They don't care if Elizabeth is lonely. They don't care if Elizabeth wants someone to hold her hand when the nightmares come. They want their icon to stay on the pedestal, frozen in marble. You cry. You rage at your council. Why can I not have what every milkmaid in my kingdom has? You demand. Why must I die alone? Cecil and Walsingham stare at their shoes. They know the political reality. If you marry the frog, you risk a civil war. If you marry the frog, you might die in childbirth. A very real fear at 46. If you marry the frog, you hand England over to French influence. The dream begins to curdle. Francis returns in 1581. This time, the mood is different. The joy is replaced by desperation. You are trying to force the square peg of love into the round hole of politics. You stage a public commitment. You walk into the gallery at Whitehall. You kiss Francis on the lips in front of the whole court, and you give him a ring from your own finger. You declare, loud and clear, "The Duke of Alençon shall be my husband." The French are ecstatic. They start planning the wedding. They light bonfires in Paris. But that night, your ladies surround you. They are weeping. They are terrified. They tell you that if you marry him, the Protestants will rise up. They tell you that your life is in danger. You lie awake all night. You stare at the canopy of your bed. You weigh the warmth of a husband against the weight of a crown. By morning, the decision is made. You are the Queen of England first and a woman second. You send for Francis. You are pale, your eyes red from crying. You tell him it cannot happen. Francis collapses. He tears off the ring and throws it on the floor. He curses England. He curses you. You women are as changeable as the wind. He shouts. It is a scene of utter devastation. You are breaking his heart, but more importantly, you are breaking your own. You are severing the last tether to a normal life. You pay him off. You give him a massive sum of money, £10,000, a fortune to leave. It feels like paying a prostitute to go away, and the transaction leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. He leaves for the Netherlands to fight a war he is ill-equipped for. You write to him constantly. Your letters are filled with regret and longing. You call yourself his widow. You truly grieve the death of the relationship. When he dies of a fever, and likely syphilis, in 1584, you are inconsolable. You wear black. You tell the French ambassador, "I am a widow woman who has lost her husband." The frog episode is the turning point. Before Francis, marriage was a card you played. After Francis, marriage is a door that is locked and bolted. You accept your fate. You will be the Virgin Queen forever. Not by choice, perhaps, but by necessity. But nature abhors a vacuum. If you cannot have a husband, you will have worshippers. If you cannot have a partner, you will have pets. This brings us to the new breed of men, the post-frog men. The court is changing. The serious, grim men of your youth, the Cecils, the Bacons are getting old. A new generation is arriving. They are flashy. They are poetic. They are obsessed with the new world. And swaggering at the front of this line is Walter Raleigh. He is the antidote to the frog. Francis was small, ugly, and French. Raleigh is tall, dark, handsome, and aggressively English. He is a commoner, a soldier from Devon with a rough accent that you find exotic. He is a self-made man, a pirate in a velvet doublet. He doesn't want to marry you. He knows that's off the table. He wants to glorify you. He wants to name empires after you. He wants to sail off the edge of the map and bring you back gold and potatoes and tobacco. He feeds your vanity, which is starving after the humiliation of the frog affair. You are sitting in your privy chamber. Raleigh is there. He is telling you about the ocean. He describes the waves like mountains, the strange people with painted skin, the endless forests of America. He calls you Cynthia, the goddess of the moon, who controls the tides and the oceans. It is a different kind of seduction. It is intellectual. It is mythological. He makes you feel vast. He makes you feel like you are not just a queen of a small, rainy island, but an empress of the world. He scratches a poem onto a window pane with a diamond, because of course he carries diamonds. Fain would I climb, yet fear I to fall. You take the diamond from him and write the reply underneath. If thy heart fails thee, climb not at all. It is witty. It is sharp. It is the banter of two brilliant minds sharpening themselves on each other. But Raleigh is dangerous. He is hated by the old nobility. They call him an upstart. They hate that he has your ear. They hate that he has a monopoly on tin, on playing cards, on wine. You have made him rich. But you don't care. You like having a water to your fire. You like the way he looks at you with that brooding pirate intensity. However, Raleigh, like all of them, forgets the rules. He thinks he can have a private life. He thinks he can separate the queen's favorite from the man. He starts looking at Bess Throckmorton. Bess is one of your maids of honor. She is young, she is available, she is everything you are not. You don't see it at first. You are too busy looking at maps of Virginia. You are too busy enjoying the sonnets Raleigh writes for you. You are blind to the glances they exchange behind your back. But the secret is growing. Bess is pregnant. The collision course is set. You are about to be reminded, brutally, that while you are the goddess of the moon, you are also a woman who can be deceived. And the punishment for deceiving the moon is typically quite severe. You are sitting in your private chambers, and the air is filled with a strange, pungent, blue-gray fog. It smells earthy, like dried leaves and fire. Across from you sits Walter Raleigh, looking every inch the Pirate King, holding a silver pipe with a tiny bowl at the end. He is smoking. It clears the humors of the head, Your Majesty, he claims, exhaling a perfect ring of smoke. You lean forward. You are fascinated. This is tobacco, the strange weed brought back from the New World. It is the latest craze, and Raleigh is its high priest. You take the pipe from him, you take a puff, you cough, your eyes water, and the courtiers giggle nervously. But you laugh. It's intoxicating. It's new. It's modern. This is the Raleigh effect. He brings the horizon to your doorstep, while your other advisors are obsessed with the boring, muddy politics of Europe, who is marrying who in France. What the Pope is grumbling about in Rome, Raleigh is looking west. He unfurls maps on your table that show vast, empty spaces. He talks of empire. He tells you that you shouldn't just be the queen of a small island. You should be the empress of the seas. You should challenge Spain not just in the Channel, but in the Caribbean, in the Americas, at the source of their gold. It is a seductive vision. You have spent your life playing defense. Raleigh wants you to play offense. He organizes an expedition. He sends ships across the Atlantic. They land on the coast of North America. They meet the indigenous people, the Algonquian. They bring back stories of fertile soil, massive forests, and strange beasts. And then, Raleigh plays his ace card. He asks for permission to name this new land. He calls it Virginia. It is a stroke of genius. It frames your unmarried state not as a barren tragedy, but as a divine, fertile power. The land is virgin, and you are the virgin queen who claims it. It is a monument to your chastity that spans a continent. It is the ultimate ego stroke. You are thrilled. You give him a knighthood. You give him the monopoly on wine licensing, which makes him rich enough to wear pearls on his shoes. Historians still argue whether Raleigh was a true visionary of the British Empire or just a silver-tongued con man who knew exactly how to manipulate an aging woman's vanity. Most agree he was a bit of both. He promised you gold mines, El Dorado, and brought back potatoes. But hey, potatoes are useful. Speaking of potatoes, there's a quirky legend that he gifted you a sack of them, and your cooks, not knowing what they were, threw away the tubers and cooked the poisonous leaves. The resulting royal indigestion nearly got Raleigh executed. It's likely a myth, but it captures the chaotic, experimental energy he brings to your court. But Raleigh's rise comes with a cost. He is insufferable. He treats the other nobles like dirt. He mocks their clothes. He mocks their intellect. He is a new man, a commoner who rose by merit and charm. And he despises the old, hereditary wealth. The feeling is mutual. The Earl of Oxford calls him a jack and an upstart. They hate him. And because they hate him, he becomes even more dependent on you. He clings to you. He stands as captain of the guard at your door, his hand on his sword, sneering at anyone who tries to enter without his permission. You like this. It feels like loyalty. It feels like protection. But there is a flaw in the design. Raleigh is a man of action, a man of appetites. And you, for all your wit and power, are a woman in her late 50s. You are the fairy queen, an ageless icon. But you are not a wife. You cannot give him a home. You cannot give him children. He starts looking elsewhere. He doesn't look far. He looks right under your nose. Bess Throckmorton. She is 26. She is one of your gentlewomen of the Privy Chamber. This is a sacred role. These women are your closest companions. They dress you, they sleep in your room, they guard your secrets. They are sworn to chastity, or at least to asking your permission before they marry. Raleigh seduces her. It starts with whispers, then stolen moments in the corridors, then disaster. Bess gets pregnant. They panic. They know you well. They know that your jealousy is a terrifying, destructive force. You view your favorites as your property. If they marry, they are stealing from you. Raleigh and Bess marry in secret in November 1591. They try to keep it quiet. Bess actually returns to court, hiding her swelling belly under wide farthingales, performing her duties, smiling at you, lying to your face every single day. She gives birth in secret. She sends the baby away to a wet nurse. She comes back to work as if nothing happened. The audacity is breathtaking. But you are Elizabeth. You have eyes everywhere. The rumors start to swirl. The upstart Raleigh has been caught in a trap. His enemies are delighted. They bring the news to you with fake sorrow and hidden smirks. Your Majesty, there is a matter of Sir Walter and Mistress Throckmorton. When the truth lands, it isn't just anger you feel. It is humiliation. You thought he worshipped you. You thought you were his Cynthia, his moon, his goddess. But all this time, while he was writing you sonnets about your celestial beauty, he was going home to a 26-year-old. He preferred a mortal woman to a goddess. The betrayal cuts deep because it highlights your age. It highlights the one thing you cannot offer: a future. Your reaction is nuclear. You scream. You throw things. You strike Bess. You banish them both from your presence. To the tower, you order. It is a harsh punishment for a marriage. Usually a secret marriage means a fine and a few weeks of house arrest. But you send them to the dungeon. You want them to suffer. You want to break them. Raleigh, sitting in his cell, realizes he has miscalculated. He knows his only way out is to play the game harder than ever. He writes letters to Cecil, knowing you will see them. He pours on the melodrama. My heart was never broken till this day, he writes. I was wont to behold her riding like Alexander, hunting like Diana, walking like Venus, the gentle wind blowing her fair hair about her pure cheeks like a nymph. He describes you, a woman nearing 60, as a nymph with fair hair blowing in the wind. It is absurd. It is desperate. But it works. A little bit. You read the letters. You don't forgive him, not really, but your vanity is soothed. You need the adoration, even if you know it's fake. It is a drug, and you are an addict. You eventually release him, but not because of the poetry. You release him because one of his ships, the Madre de Deus, has captured a massive Portuguese treasure ship. It is loaded with jewels, spices, and silk worth £500,000. The sailors are looting it. Raleigh is the only one who can control them and secure the Queen's share. Greed overrides heartbreak. You let him out to secure the bag, but he is banished from court. He is sent away to Sherborne, to his country estate, with his wife. He is in exile. The water has evaporated from your life. The dynamic is broken. You are left alone in your palaces, surrounded by sycophants who are too afraid to tell you the truth about anything. And as Raleigh fades into the background, the stage is cleared for the final, most tragic figure of them all. The man who watched Raleigh's fall and thought, I can do better. The man who thinks he is the hero of this story, not realizing he is walking into a Greek tragedy. Robert Devereux, Earl of Essex. He is waiting in the wings. He is young, he is beautiful, and he is dangerously unstable. He is about to step into the vacuum left by Dudley and Raleigh, and he is going to consume all the air in the room. You are entering the 1,590 seconds, the nasty 90s, historians call them. The harvests are failing, the people are hungry. The war with Spain is dragging on and draining the treasury. and you are an old woman, painted white, wearing the wigs of a young girl, desperately trying to hold on to a world that is slipping through your jeweled fingers. You need a champion. You need a distraction. And Essex is ready to be both. But he will demand a price that you are not willing to pay. Your crown. The year is 1593, or maybe 1595. The years are starting to blur together in a haze of rheumatism and insomnia. The court feels empty. Your old lions are gone. Leicester is dead. Walsingham is dead. Hatton is dead. Even your enemies are dying off. Philip of Spain is rotting away in the Escorial. You are the last giant standing in a forest that has been clear-cut. But silence is boring, and you have never been good at being bored. You crave the noise, the drama, the electric friction of a man trying to tame you. Enter Robert Devereux, the second Earl of Essex. If history has a sense of irony, this is its masterpiece. Essex is the stepson of Robert Dudley, your great love. He is the son of Lettice Knollys, the she-wolf cousin you hate with the fire of 1,000 suns, because she married Dudley. Essex carries the ghosts of your past in his DNA. He has Dudley's charisma, Lettice's beauty, and a double dose of their combined arrogance. He is in his 20s, you are in your 60s. He bursts into your privy chamber not like a courtier, but like a force of nature. He is tall, athletic, and possesses that careless, devastating confidence of a man who has never been told no in his entire life. He looks at you, buried under your layers of white makeup, red wigs, and stiff brocade, and he doesn't see an old woman. He sees a conquest. You are hooked, instantly. You convince yourself it's maternal. You knew him when he was a child. You are his godmother, practically. But let's be honest, the letters you exchange are not the letters of a mother and son. They are the fevered scribblings of lovers. He writes that he is wasting away without the light of your eyes. He writes, I am a stranger to all joy, but what I find in your presence, you eat it up. You keep him up all night playing cards. You keep the stakes high, and when he loses, which he often does, because he is rash and impulsive, you forgive the debts. You give him the monopoly on sweet wines, a callback to Raleigh's monopolies, which you stripped away. You shower him with jewels. But this is not the comfortable, steady love of Hatton. This is a roller coaster. Essex is volatile. He is moody. He gets sick whenever you refuse him something, retreating to his bed, moaning that he is dying of a broken heart until you rush to his bedside to feed him broth with a silver spoon. It is a toxic, codependent cycle. You love the attention, but you hate his entitlement. He treats the court like his personal playground. Take the incident with Charles Blount. Blount is a handsome young soldier who catches your eye at a tournament. You send him a gold chess queen, a literal queen, as a token of favor. Blount, beaming with pride, ties the gold piece to his arm with a crimson ribbon and parades it around the palace. Essex sees it. He asks what it is. When told it's a favor from you, he sneers loud enough for the whole room to hear. Now I perceive that every fool must have a favor. It is a direct insult to you and to Blount. Blount challenges him to a duel. They meet in Marylebone Park. Blount wounds Essex in the thigh. When you hear about it, you don't punish them, you laugh. You actually say, God's death, it is fit that someone or other should take him down and teach him better manners. Otherwise, there would be no ruling him. You enjoy seeing men bleed for you. It validates that you are still the prize, still the Helen of Troy of Westminster, even if your teeth are black and your joints ache. But Essex's jealousy isn't just about romance. It's about power. He wants to be the alpha male. He wants to run the government. He pushes for war with Spain when your advisors want peace. He demands appointments for his friends. He throws tantrums when he doesn't get his way. Historians still argue about the true nature of this relationship. Was Essex a victim of a predatory, aging queen who forced him to play the role of lover to keep his career alive? Or was he a narcissistic manipulator who exploited a lonely woman's vulnerability? The truth is likely a messy collision of both. You used him for his youth. He used you for your power. But the power dynamic is shifting. Essex is becoming popular. Too popular. In 1596, he leads an expedition to Cadiz, Spain. It is a smash and grab. He sacks the city, burns the Spanish fleet, and tosses his hat into the sea in triumph. He returns to London, a hero. The people cheer for him in the streets. They shout his name, not yours. Essex! Essex! You are furious. You are the sun. He is supposed to be the moon, reflecting your light. He is not supposed to shine on his own. You refuse to see him. You criticize the expedition. You claim he didn't bring back enough treasure, which is true. He let the soldiers loot everything instead of securing the plunder for the crown. He sulks. He writes angry letters. The rift widens. And then comes the moment where the line is crossed. The point of no return. It is July 1598. You are in the council chamber. The air is stiflingly hot. You are debating who to send to Ireland to put down a rebellion. Ireland is the graveyard of English reputations, a boggy, rebellious nightmare that costs a fortune to police. You want to send Sir William Knollys. Essex wants you to send Sir George Carew, mostly because he hates Carew and wants him out of the country. You argue. You tell Essex he is wrong. You are the queen, and your word is final. Essex loses his temper. In a moment of supreme arrogance, he turns his back on you. It is a shocking breach of protocol. You never, ever turn your back on the monarch. It is an act of contempt. It says, you do not matter. The Tudor rage, dormant for a while, erupts. You don't think, you react. You lunge forward and you box his ears a sharp, stinging slap to the side of his head. You shout at him, go and be hanged. The room freezes. The scratching of the clerk's quill stops. Essex's face goes crimson. His hand drops to the hilt of his sword. He half draws it. He is drawing a weapon on the Queen of England. The Lord Admiral, Charles Howard, throws himself between you. He grabs Essex. It is chaos. Essex shouts that he would not have taken such an insult from your father, Henry VIII. He storms out of the room. You stand there, chest heaving, hand stinging from the slap. You are trembling, not with fear, but with the cold realization that the spell is broken. The boy you indulged has become a monster. He has threatened you physically. He leaves court. He goes to his estate, Wanstead. He refuses to apologize. The standoff lasts for months. Your advisors, the younger Cecil, Robert, urge you to crush him. But you can't. You miss him. You miss the energy. You wait for him to bend the knee. Eventually, he writes a half-hearted apology. You let him come back. But it's not the same. The trust is gone. You are watching him now, not with the eyes of a lover, but with the eyes of a jailer watching a dangerous prisoner. And Essex is desperate. He is broke. His debts are mounting. He needs a win. He needs a war to restore his fortune and his reputation. He volunteers to go to Ireland. He claims he will crush the rebel leader, the Earl of Tyrone, in weeks. He promises to bring Ireland to heel. He demands a massive army, the largest ever sent from England. He demands absolute authority. You look at him. You see the desperation. You see the hubris. And perhaps in a dark corner of your mind, you see a solution. If he goes to Ireland, he is out of London. If he succeeds, England is safe. If he fails, well, failure has a way of solving the problem of an overmighty subject. You sign the commission. You give him his army. You give him his sword. Go, you tell him. He rides out of London in March 1599. The crowds cheer. They throw flowers. They call him their general. He looks like a king riding to war. You watch from the window. You know, with the deep, cynical wisdom of a woman who has survived 65 years of treason and tragedy, that he is riding toward his doom. You just don't know yet if he will take you down with him. The letters start arriving from Ireland soon after, and they are not good. The bogs are deep. The rebels are elusive. The glory he promised is sinking into the mud. He is failing. And a failing narcissist is the most dangerous creature on earth. You are sitting at your desk in Nonsuch Palace, reading reports from Ireland, and your hands are shaking with rage. The ink on the page describes a disaster. Essex has been in Ireland for months. He has the largest army you have ever assembled. And what has he done? Has he crushed the Earl of Tyrone? Has he pacified the rebels? No. He has marched around the countryside like a tourist, avoiding battle, wasting supplies, and in a move that makes you scream at the walls, knighting his friends. He has created 81 new knights. 81. You, the queen, rarely hand out knighthoods, because you know that if everyone is special, no one is special. Essex is handing out titles like they are party favors. He is building his own private army of loyalists on your dime. And then, the ultimate betrayal. Instead of fighting Tyrone, he meets him at a ford in the river. They ride their horses into the water, just the two of them, while the armies watch from the banks. They talk in secret for half an hour. No witnesses. No notes. This is treason, plain and simple. A subject does not negotiate private treaties with a rebel. You write him a letter. It is ice cold. You order him to remain in Ireland until he has your permission to return. You strip away his delusions of grandeur with a few sharp sentences. But Essex is done listening. He is paranoid. He thinks your advisors, Cecil, Raleigh, the crooked backs as he calls them, are poisoning your mind against him. He decides that the only way to save himself is to come to you directly. He thinks that if he can just see you, if he can just turn on that high wattage charm, he can fix everything. He abandons his post. He leaves the army in Ireland. He rides for London. It is the 28th of September 1599. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. You are in your bedchamber at Nonsuch. You are not ready to be seen. This is a crucial detail. The Queen Elizabeth, the world knows, is a construct. She is a work of art made of white lead paint, red horsehair wigs, stiff brocades, and carefully placed jewels. Without the mask, you are a 66-year-old woman. Your hair is thin and gray. Your face is lined. Your teeth are black. You are vulnerable. Suddenly, the door bursts open. There is no announcement, no grooming of the chamber. Muddy, sweating, and travel-stained, Essex barges into your private sanctuary. He sees you. He sees the gray hair hanging about your ears. He sees the wrinkles. He sees the woman, not the queen. It is a violation more intimate than a physical attack. He has shattered the illusion that keeps you safe. He falls to his knees, grabs your hands, and starts kissing them, babbling about his devotion, about how he flew to your side. For a moment, you are too stunned to react. You speak to him gently. You listen. You let him think he has won. He leaves the room to wash and change, telling the courtiers, "I found her a sweet queen. He is a fool." The moment he leaves, the shock wears off and the cold, hard reality sets in. He disobeyed a direct order. He abandoned his army. He invaded your bedroom. When he returns later, washed and dressed in his finest silks, expecting a warm reunion, he finds a different woman. The mask is back on. The wig is pinned, and the queen is furious. You interrogate him. You demand to know why he left Ireland. You dismiss his excuses with a wave of your hand. Go to your room, you tell him. It is house arrest. He is confined to York House. For months, he languishes there. The charm offensive is over. You are determined to break him. You are determined to teach him that he is a subject, and you are the sovereign. He writes you pathetic letters. "The hip of a wren is bigger than my strength," he whines. He claims he is dying. You send him broth. You send doctors. You still care about the boy, but you cannot forgive the man. Then comes the test. The monopoly on sweet wines, his main source of income, is up for renewal. He begs you to renew it. He is broke. He is drowning in debt. You refuse. An ungovernable beast must be stopped of his provender. You tell the council you are cutting off his food supply. You are starving the arrogance out of him. This breaks him, but not in the way you hoped. Instead of becoming humble, he becomes dangerous. He starts listening to the wild, desperate men around him. He starts saying things that are unforgivable. He tells a courtier that you are an old woman, as crooked in her mind as in her carcass. Raleigh hears it. The spies hear it. You hear it. Crooked in her carcass? That is the end. There is no coming back from that. February 1601. The tension in London is snapping like a tight wire. Essex House on the Strand is buzzing with activity. Swordsmen are gathering. Disgraced soldiers, Puritan preachers, desperate men. They are planning a coup. The plan is madness. They will march on Whitehall. They will seize the palace. They will protect you from your evil advisors. They will force you to name James of Scotland as your heir and make Essex the Lord Protector. On Sunday morning, February 8th, you send 4 of your highest counselors to Essex House to ask him what the hell is going on. Essex takes them hostage. He locks the Lord Keeper of the Great Seal in a library. Then, he draws his sword. "To the court!" he shouts. He marches into the city of London with 200 men. He expects the citizens to rise up. He expects the Londoners to throw open their windows and join his revolution. But London is silent. The people stare at him. They like him, sure, as the handsome war hero. But they love you. You are their best. You have kept them safe from Spain for 40 years. They are not going to commit treason for a moody earl who can't pay his bills. The rebellion fizzles out in a pathetic, wet sputter. The city gates are locked against him. He runs back to Essex House, pursued by your soldiers. He burns his papers. He surrenders. He is taken to the tower. The same tower where you sat as a terrified girl. The same tower where his stepfather was imprisoned. The same tower where your mother died. The trial is swift. He is guilty. There is no doubt. He betrayed his queen. He marched under arms against the crown. He falls apart at the trial. He stops playing the hero and starts naming names. He blames his sister, Penelope Rich. He blames his secretary. He tries to save his soul by throwing everyone else into the fire. The verdict is death. Now you sit with the warrant. It is the ghost of the Duke of Norfolk all over again. But worse. This is Robin's boy. This is the man you loved. The man who made you feel young again. You hesitate. You sign it. You weep. There is a legend, a famous story that you gave Essex a ring once, telling him that if he ever found himself in trouble, he should send it to you, and you would be merciful. The story goes that he tried to send the ring from the tower, but it was intercepted by the Countess of Nottingham, who kept it out of spite. And so you waited for a ring that never came, thinking he was too proud to ask for mercy, while he waited for a mercy that never arrived. Historians say it's a myth, a fairy tale, invented to explain the tragedy. But the truth is simpler and sadder. You couldn't save him. You are the queen. If you let a man lead an armed revolt and live, you are not a queen anymore. You are a victim waiting to happen. He has to die so England can remain stable. Ash Wednesday, the 25th of February 1601, you grant him one final mercy. He will not be dragged on a hurdle through the streets and butchered before a crowd on Tower Hill. He will be beheaded in private, inside the walls of the tower, on the green. He walks to the scaffold. He is dressed in black velvet. He wears a scarlet waistcoat. He prays. He acknowledges his great sin. He lies down. He fits his neck to the curvature of the wood. Strike, he commands. It takes 3 blows. The first one deprives him of sense. The second cuts deep. The third severs the head. The executioner lifts it up. God save the queen. You are in your palace when the cannon fires from the tower, signaling that the deed is done. You are sitting in silence. You do not weep publicly this time. You go to your virginals, a small harpsichord, and you play. You play to drown out the sound of the cannon in your memory. The silence that follows is deafening. The court is quiet. The favorite is dead. The virgin queen has killed her last lover. You are 67 years old. You are alone in a way you have never been before. The circle is empty. The dance is over. But you are still Elizabeth. You still have a job to do. You have to finish this. You have to say goodbye to your people. You have one last great performance left in you. The cannons have stopped firing, but the silence in your head is louder than the explosions ever were. It is 1601. You are 68 years old. The execution of Essex has drained the last reserves of your emotional vitality. You go through the motions, you sign the papers, you yell at the ambassadors, you dance the Gaillardi even when your knees are screaming in protest, but the spark is dimming. You are the last Tudor. The dynasty that began with your grandfather picking a crown out of a hawthorn bush on a battlefield is ending with you, an old woman in a red wig, sitting alone in a room full of ghosts. But you have one final act to perform. You have to say goodbye to the other love of your life, your people. Parliament is angry. They are furious about monopolies, the exclusive rights to sell things like salt, starch, and sweet wines that you granted to your favorites, like Raleigh and Essex, to keep them loyal. The people are being price gouged, and they are rioting. The mood in the House of Commons is ugly. They are threatening to withhold taxes. A lesser monarch would send in the guards. A lesser monarch would arrest the ringleaders. You summon them to Whitehall Palace. You dress in your finest gold robes. You paint the mask of youth onto your face one last time. You walk into the banqueting house, and you face the angry mob of MPs. And then, you deliver the performance of a lifetime. It becomes known as the Golden Speech. You don't scold them. You don't threaten them. You love-bomb them. Though God hath raised me high, you tell them, your voice steady and clear. Yet this I count the glory of my crown, that I have reigned with your loves. It is a masterstroke. You tell them that you never signed a monopoly grant that you didn't think was for their good. You tell them that you care for them more than you care for yourself. You turn a political crisis into a love letter. There is no jewel, be it of never so rich a price, which I set before this jewel. I mean, your love. The MPs are weeping. They fall to their knees. The anger evaporates, replaced by adoration. You have done it again. You have charmed the pants off the country one last time. As they leave, kissing your hand, you know this is the curtain call. But as 1,602 turns into 1,603, the physical toll becomes impossible to hide. You are tired. So tired. You move to Richmond Palace. It is your warm winter box. The place where your grandfather died. You feel the end coming. And then, a small, painful detail brings the reality of your mortality home. The coronation ring, the gold band you placed on your finger 44 years ago to marry the kingdom, has never been taken off. Not once. But your hands are swelling. The gold is cutting into your flesh. The ring is literally being swallowed by your body. It has to be removed, but it won't budge. You have to summon a smith. He comes with a file. He saws the ring off your finger. Historians still argue about the psychological impact of this moment. Was it just a medical necessity? Or did you feel, as the metal was severed, that the marriage was over? That the bond between you and England was finally broken? After the ring is gone, you plunge into a deep melancholy. You stop eating. You refuse to take your medicine. You sit on cushions on the floor, staring at nothing, your finger tracing patterns on the carpet. Your courtiers are terrified. They beg you to go to bed. If you were in the habit of seeing such things in your bed as I do when in mine, you would not urge me to go there. You whisper. You are afraid to sleep. You are afraid you won't wake up. You stand up. You stand for 15 hours straight, leaning on a cane, refusing to lie down. It is a feat of endurance that defies medical science. It is the daughter of Henry VIII refusing to yield to death. Robert Cecil, the son of your old friend William, tries to bully you. Your Majesty, to content the people, you must go to bed, he says. You turn your eyes on him. The old fire flares up one last time. Little man, you snap. The word must is not to be used to princes, but even princes must eventually yield to biology. You collapse. They carry you to your bed. You lie there, propped up on pillows, your throat so swollen you can barely speak. The council gathers around the bed. The vultures. They need a name. They need an heir. If you die without naming a successor, the civil war you spent 45 years preventing will start the moment your heart stops. Who shall succeed you? They ask. You cannot speak. You make a gesture. You lift your hand to your head. Does it mean head? Does it mean king? Or are you just adjusting your headache? Cecil interprets it as king, specifically King James VI of Scotland. The irony is absolute. The son of Mary, Queen of Scots. The son of the woman you beheaded. The Stuart line will take the throne. The Tudors will die with you. In the end, Mary won the biological war, even if you won the political one. It is the 24th of March 1603. Outside, the frost is thawing. Inside, the Queen is fading. Archbishop Whitgift kneels by your bed. He prays for you to live. You signal him to stop. You gesture for him to pray for your soul to leave. You are done with the fighting. You are done with the masks. You are done with the Virgin Queen. You just want to be Elizabeth. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, mild like a ripe apple falling from the tree, you slip away. No struggle, no scream, just silence. A rider, Robert Carey, is already on a horse, galloping north to Scotland, carrying a sapphire ring, taken from your sister, to James to tell him he is now the King of England. The world moves on instantly, but you stay. Your body is prepared. You are dressed in your velvet, your ruff, your jewels. You are placed in a lead coffin. They carry you to Westminster Abbey. The crowds are immense. The weeping is so loud it is described as a howling. The people know that the golden age is over. They know they will never see your like again. You are buried in the same vault as your sister Mary. Two queens, opposite in faith, opposite in temperament, united in death. The Latin inscription on your tomb reads, "Partners both in throne and grave. Here rest we two sisters, Elizabeth and Mary, in the hope of one resurrection." You are gone. The makeup is washed away. The wigs are boxed up. The dresses are catalogued. But the story of the unwanted daughter who became the greatest monarch in English history, that never dies. You won the game. You kept your head, you kept your crown, and you kept your secret heart, right to the very end. And so, the heavy velvet curtain falls on the House of Tudor. The candles in the great long galleries of Richmond and Whitehall are snuffed out, one by one, leaving the tapestries in darkness. The scent of rosewater, old wood, and the sharp tang of gunpowder fades into the cool night air. You can stop standing now. You can stop holding your breath. You can stop worrying about the Spanish ships on the horizon or the whispers in the corridor. The spies have all gone home. The executioner has put away his axe. The plotting is over. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of that invisible crown lifting off your head. It was so heavy, wasn't it? Iron and gold and duty, pressing down for 45 years. But now, it's gone. You are just you. Not a symbol, not a goddess, not a political chessboard. Just a person, safe and warm and finally, truly resting. The River Thames flows on, dark and steady, carrying all those stories out to sea, washing away the ambition and the heartbreak. Let them go. Let the history books handle the dates and the wars. You have done your part. You have survived the tower, the pox, and the heartbreak of kings. Now, the only kingdom you need to rule is the quiet, soft empire of sleep. The fire is burning low in the grate, casting gentle, flickering shadows that can't hurt you. The room is still. The world is safe. Close your eyes. Let the darkness wrap around you like a warm cloak, not a cloak of state, but a cloak of comfort. Drift away from the court, away from the crowds, into the silence. Good night, Gloriana.